Yeah. I have to I've gotta like watch Popeye to keep me going throughout the day. You know, he's the spokesperson for being mildly anemic.
It's
Uh,
inspiring.
we're trying, but thank you so much, Chris, for joining us tonight. Let's get down to the brass tacks of it, man. You're a filmmaker, you're a creator, you're a human. You made it very sure that you're a human, and a very kind one at that. Let's take it all back. Where did it all start from? Where are you from originally, and what got you into filmmaking?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. I moved from Kansas City, like it was the day after Christmas, 2015. So I moved here for comedy school. So I went to Second City and did the writing program there. And that was pretty cool. It was like 6 classes total. It was pretty cool because like the first four, like you learn like the structure of writing, like sketch style, and then like the fifth class was like learning like the casting process, and then the sixth show or the sixth like class, excuse me, was like actually casting the show. So that was pretty cool. It's like a nice crash course. And I did like some improv at like IO Theater, and yeah, and I'm a filmmaker, so I went to school for film at University of Kansas, so did film and theater. So yeah, just doing that on the weekends and whatnot. It's a pretty fun time, and Chicago's a pretty awesome place for it.
How long have you been living here, man?
It's been like about 8.5 years
8.5 years.
since like 2015, if that math checks out.
What made you want to move over here? Like, what was it that you said? Oh, Chicago was definitely the place for me to go do my thing.
I really like Second City. Like, all the legends go there, like Chris Farley, Dan Aykroyd. So I thought like, oh, it'd be a great place to learn it. So started just like with that, we're just kind of like learning some sort of structure for writing, and use that to kind of like learn like the acting side more, to help me like with the writing and filming. Like, it all kind of comes full circle.
Do Do you remember like a pivotal moment in your like younger self when you were just like, man, I want to go create films. I want to create things with people.
Yeah,
What was that like?
it was like junior year of high school. I was just like making really dumb sketches, running around with my buddy. Like back when I had like a point and shoot. I think I had like 20, maybe I don't even know if it was that much. It was probably like, yeah, like 10 to 20 gigabytes like internally with the camera, and you kind of like had to self edit. So yeah, just like back in high school, never like took a class for it, but was always just running around, usually like pranks and filming them, stuff like that.
Now I got to ask your time at the Second City. I've done some classes there myself. I was really upset that I was out of there before the time of the Harold Ramis Film School. Was that a thing while you were there?
I was like volunteering like while that like was just starting up. So I didn't like I already went to film school at that time, but yeah, I saw like people from a distance doing it. And, like it seemed really like a great opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, what a legend to have that imprint on that space. It's such a cool opportunity. Because
Absolutely.
SCTV was always super funny. I remember watching it as a kid, and it was always the, Rick Moranis, and they had all these guys from like the Canadian
John
Second City.
Candy,
John Candy was a legend.
Eugene
on it.
Levy.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was like the Canadian version of Second City, basically.
yeah,
Even though there is a Second City in Toronto, but
right, right. It's really cool to see that the Second City's kind of taken up on the kind of the weird shift of what comedy is these days. Speaking of that, I was hoping maybe you can talk a little bit about what your experience is like here in the film
yeah,
Chicago film scene.
definitely. So for film right now, I'm doing dark comedy projects usually. So I have a production channel called Planet Garbage. So we focus on dark comedy essentially. So we've done like a few shorts. We did a TV show pilot episode called Millennial Impossible. That took a long time. It took us like 5 years to make one episode. It was a lot of work. But we did like get it on some platforms, which was cool. It's on Amazon Prime. So that one's basically about like a bunch of millennials who team up to stop this radical group who go by the name of baby boomers, who are hell bent on destroying their entire generation. So it's a dark comedy, and we have 8 episodes for season one. We just filmed the one, but episode one is called Meme of Death, and it's got this guy who goes by the name of Edgelord, and he's creating memes that are so dank that millennials all over the city of Chicago are looking at their phones at the memes and laughing to death.
Like,
So
like they're looking at their phones and collapse on the floor dead. Pretty
yeah,
much.
because like the memes are so dank.
That's crazy.
So
Sounds
that was
fun.
one we did. Another one we did was like a 17-minute fake movie trailers, like Grindhouse style, called Crime City. That one's pretty fun. Jay, he's actually in that one at the end.
I explode. I roll weed and I explode afterwards as I light the joint.
Sounds like some good weed.
Yeah. Took me off. But actually, the trailer for Millennium Impossible is on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
We actually pulled it up here. I don't know if you mind us showing it to the audience for a second.
No, definitely.
We'll get that on here real quick because it's actually a pretty cool trailer, to be honest with you guys.
You know, folks, for those of you just watching Hawkwinds for the first time, it's a multimedia room that we're in. So it's a show by Chicagoans, for Chicago art, media, production. And it's a really cool venue to show off some videos and show off a bunch of different talents that we have here. And again, Chris, we appreciate you swinging on by today, man.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, here's the trailer, guys. Let's go.
Without further ado.
Will you tell me a story? Will you tell me your story?
Have you ever created something so funny? People laugh themselves to death.
Word has come in that there's a lead so dank that it's leaving its target audience dead.
It's the funniest thing that's happened ever.
Violent Edgelord and stop sleeping eat. It's literally internet genocide.
I live in my parents' basement and I spend 8 hours a day telling people to turn their devices on and off. I'm going on a mission.
Do people do any research whatsoever these days?
The Earth is definitely flat.
It's pathetic.
So we go home now?
Game they want. We'll give them a match.
The boomers are stepping up their game.
Millennial Impossible.
I hope Medicare covers your chiropractic work. Oh, it doesn't.
But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was the trailer for Millennium Impossible.
I saw a couple familiar faces in there.
Oh.
Jay's getting some screen time at the end there, baby.
You know, man. What was the writing process for that? Like, I believe you had another co-writer with you.
Yeah, to answer your question, long. It took a while. Like it took us like 2 years of writing, like with like rewrites, like probably like 8 different drafts, a couple years of filming, and a couple years of editing. So I think 5 years total, but all overlapping, because it was like a big undertaking with having such an ensemble cast. But yeah, I have a co-writing friend. His name is Matt Hill.
Shout out, Matt.
Great guy. I met him at Second City. He took one class ever, the first class we took at Second City, so I'm happy I met him there. That was the only one he took, and then I continued to do the program. But yeah, now he's working at Northwestern University, and we actually filmed there recently. Actually, I don't know if I should say that. Eradicate that. Delete that from the
We can
records.
edit. Yeah. He was talking about another university.
Yeah, I was talking about.
Cut, snip, roll the paint. Well, that's awesome. I also saw, is that Will Brady? The actor Will Brady in there?
Yeah, Will Brady's in there. He killed it.
He's awesome. I met that dude a couple times before. We worked a couple different events. He's a really great actor. He's really, really fun. And I was talking to a friend about this the other day. It's really a fun thing working in the Chicago film scene, and you'll watch TV or you'll see a trailer and you see like friends that you know and you're like, oh my God, that's so cool. I know that guy. It's kind of a fun thing. Do you have any stories of like your first time ever like seeing someone and being like, oh my God, like it's such and such?
Yeah, I just feel like everyone like always, runs in together. Like, Chicago seems like a big city, but like everyone's always running into each other on a project eventually. Mm-hmm. Like, so actually for Millennium Impossible, funny enough, we had a shootout scene. We filmed right here in this exact same studio.
True. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then and Jay was there helping out that day. So I think that's where he found out about this place.
Yeah, actually, for those of you who don't know, the only reason that this show's happening right now is because I decided to help Chris with his shoot that one day. So I came in here and I seen a couple podcast studios and I talked to the owner who owns this place. I'm like, dude, let me do something here. And that was the genesis of Hawkwinds, essentially.
Yeah. So cool.
So I feel like that's a pretty cool full circle moment that we're kind of living through right now.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, you never know, man. That's why I don't like to hardly ever say no to people, because you never know when like opportunities are gonna come in, come in knocking or whatever.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier today, of like being just the idea of being on set and gaining that experience and meeting people is so beneficial to a lot of people that, folks who are like newly in on entertainment and stuff, I recommend to them all the time. I'm like, go be an extra, see if you actually like it, but you never know, because you can walk in on the set one time and stumble upon a place that you're going to make a lot of great memories in, and who knows where it can go from there. So
yeah, I like the idea of just being open to like trying new experiences. Even like I've never worked in like a film set before, and I just said, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. And then you hit me up for another thing at the Joliet prison or something like that.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool. What was that called again?
Yeah, we filmed this movie. It was called Hell's Half Acre at Old Joliet Prison in Joliet, Illinois. So cool thing about that location is Blues Brothers had a scene there. It was at the very end of the movie when they were like singing and dancing at the jailhouse. Spoiler alert! From the 80s, you should have seen it by now. And then this show.
The beginning as well.
Yeah, in the beginning. Yeah, exactly. And then in Prison Break, they also filmed, I think, like pretty much the whole thing at that prison also.
That's cool.
But one thing, just to piggyback off of what you guys were just saying, like I wholeheartedly agree about like, just being on set, and like that opens up doors for opportunities, So, filmmaking, a lot of it is cliche, but it's true. It's like, it's who you know. So if you rub enough elbows, you can like maybe do a cool project or a cooler one later. But half the time it's like, you're just like background or whatever, and then eventually you're just like there long enough, you'll hear like stories like this time and time again. It's like, hey, I've seen you around, right? All right, yeah, how would you like to have one line, like, oh, you have a decent look. So if you're just like there long enough, like I feel like you eventually get promoted. I guess you can kind of say the same thing about jobs in general. You're there long enough, sometimes maybe you get promoted.
Yeah.
Now, getting early off in entertainment, did you ever have like a mentor, someone who kind of took you under their wing to kind of show you the ropes of what it's like to be a filmmaker?
Yeah, great question. Two people I would say that like were really inspiring to me. One of them was my screenwriting professor at the University of Kansas. His name is Kevin Wilmot. He is a screenwriter, director. I was in this movie of his called Jayhawkers, and it was from the 1950s. It's like black and white. It takes place in the 1950s about Wilt Chamberlain, and in the movie, I was actually a Northwestern basketball player. Ironically, before I even knew like of Northwestern University, so I was in that movie. Like we all had to wear the short shorts, the high socks, the Chuck Taylors, and I was basically just getting dunked on. That was fun. But what he said was, everyone thinks that like you got to move to LA. Like everyone and their dog says that. But he's like, hey, look at me. I'm right here in Lawrence, Kansas, making a movie. So you can just like get equipment and do it. Be resourceful. So that was really inspiring to me. Cool thing about Kevin Wilmot, he actually co-wrote this movie called Black Klansman with Spike Lee, and they won an Oscar. So that was pretty awesome. Yeah. So I think it was like 4 people total that co-wrote that movie. And then another guy who I thought was really inspiring, his name is Alan Linick. And he was my first writing teacher for the writing program at Second City. So my co-writing friend and I, Matt, were in his class. And he was only there, I think, that one like term or semester or whatever. And then he actually got hired by SNL to be a writer. So I think he auditioned to be an actor, but himself, one other guy, and one girl, they're like, hey, you guys were pretty good, but we like your writing. How'd you like to be writers instead? And they were like, oh, yeah, that'd be awesome. So I thought that was really cool. Like, so not only were they like really knowledgeable and inspiring, but just like to see their own career path, like of how they, won an Oscar and went to SNL was like really cool to see, like, in real time.
That's pretty cool, man.
It just goes to show, it doesn't matter where you're from, what your upbringing is. If you put the work in, you can make it happen.
Yeah, definitely.
It's drive outperforms talent every single time. So if you got the drive and you make it happen, you can totally do it.
Definitely. That's one thing I think too, is like there's so many self-help books out there, and a lot of them say the same thing. But at the end of the day, it's just one mantra you gotta listen to: Nike, just do it.
Do it.
Yeah, just get.
Because I was telling this guy earlier, man. Sometimes I don't care about like giving out my ideas to people because everybody can have an idea, but it's just about literally just putting it into action. You know what I mean? Like I can give you all these ideas and anybody might not do anything with it, but it's the person that actually does it. And I always think that it's not about the first person who does it either. It's about who does it a little bit better. You know what I mean? Because you can have multiple, you know, that's what music is. You know, it's all the same thing, but some people just write it a little bit differently.
Yeah, I think that's a big topic in general for the arts. Is like, you know, like, oh, like, you know, oh, this is a cool idea. Oh, but this person already did this thing that's kind of like it. You know, my philosophy on that is like, well, everything to an extent has already been done. There's been, you know, tons of years I've gone by. There's like millions of movies. So everything's been done to an extent. So you just like take your idea, embrace it, and make it as original as you want, you know, because with whether it's music and like people sampling things or music or or film where you're like slightly twisting it or like, you know, combining genres, like, you know, just do it anyways, just try and make it original.
Yeah, there's a lot of modern artists that take like beats from like the 80s and stuff and they're like reamping it. And like, you know, some people that know about it, they can tell, oh, this is really cool. Like I've heard this before. Then the newer audiences, the younger kids, they're like, this is something completely original, blah, blah, blah. I've never heard this before. And so like, you know, it's already been done. They just reamped it a little bit differently.
Right. The greatest artists cheat.
Yeah.
The greatest artists steal. That's what they say.
That's like what Vanilla Ice said. He's like, no, it's different. It's ding, 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 ding. Did you hear that? That was me. That was all me.
Yeah. Until the cash register hits and they hit you with a lawsuit, you know? So, Chris, were there any films from your youth that really got you into filmmaking? Do you have, like, you know, what's your Mount Rushmore of films that made you want to be a film entertainer?
And I mean, that's a big question, loaded question. I'm a huge Coen Brothers film, so I can just watch Big Lebowski time and time again. So yeah, that's definitely one I just love.
That's a legit answer.
Yeah.
Any others? I mean, come on, lay it on us. You do comedy, horror. What's your favorite horror film?
Favorite horror film? Oof, there's so many good ones. The Shining, I love the suspense of The Shining. You know, Alfred Hitchcock obviously is like way ahead of his time for suspense as well as like the technical side of shots. More modern day films that I personally like. I'm a huge fan of Hereditary. You know, there's there's this like one that's like a deep cut that's from France that I always like called High Tension. It's pretty dark. Funny enough about that movie was I was living in the dorms in college at the time, and I let a French exchange student borrow that movie. I was like, oh yeah, I got that movie High Tension. It's from France. And like, oh yeah. And then like they said like the actual French title, and I let them borrow it. And I kept asking them for it. I was like, oh hey, do you have my movie? They're like, oh yeah, I got you. And then like eventually I saw one of their friends. I was like, oh hey, did Paulo or whoever it was? I don't think that's a French name, but I was like, oh it's so and so like around like they have my movie. And like, oh no, they went back to France. And for a moment I was like kind of bummed. I was like, dang, they stole my movie. Dang. And then but then like a moment later I was like, wait a second. That's okay. It went back home, so it kind of works out.
Awesome.
C'est la vie.
Nice.
I don't even know what that means. I just heard it a time.
That's a Young Gravy song title.
C'est la vie. I think it was Bewitched as well. C'est la vie. Say you will say. Anyways. That's cool, man. Now you also have a film that's currently in production. Therapist, not therapist, but therapist.
Yes, sir. Yeah, right now we just finished with like principal photography, so like the main filming really of the project. We have like some drone shots left, but it's a fake Grindhouse movie trailer about this therapist who's like, the running joke is she's like seeking vengeance for her clients that are being like very cheesily verbally abused, and she immediately raises the stakes by like jumping on her motorcycle and like shooting all the bad guys with her shotgun. And they're all like wearing like denim jackets, Canadian tuxedos, which is fun. But the narrator says, you mess with her client, she becomes therapist.
I love it. I bet she charges a lot.
Yeah, she like lives in a mansion, so she's got a hefty fee.
She's a hit woman and a therapist.
Who says you can't get good help these days?
Right? You got her card? I can use her services.
It's a word of mouth referral card.
Ah, okay. Swordfish. Well, very cool. Where do you get a lot of the filming or the funding to make any of these films?
That's a good question. So it's mostly just like myself, my co-writing friend, and then I have like 2 other producer friends. So sometimes like borrowing equipment. A lot of times I'll be like just bartering, so I think Chicago's really great for the indie film community. It's nice to like have supportive people that genuinely like want to have fun and be a part of a cool project. So sometimes I'll just work on someone's project, and then when time comes, I hope that they can help me out with mine, kind of thing.
How hard is it to find people to work on your projects? It takes a lot of people to like do stuff like that.
It's kind of weird to like say this, but it's kind of like sales in a way. It's like a numbers game. Like you ask around enough, you can find good people. I think a lot of it starts from the script. Like if you have like a good script that motivates people, that's really helpful. I think you should always like send someone a script so they know like what you're a part of, what they would be a part of, instead of just like blindsiding them, of course, like the day of.
Do you have any filmmakers currently working right now that you want to give a shout out to? Anyone who you see in the game really hustling?
Yeah, definitely. There's a few. There's so many talented filmmakers here. I know Jerry Gonzalez was on here before. He does amazing things with like his puppetry and like practical effects, and I think he's like building miniatures and stuff. It's like really, really cool, inspiring stuff to see.
Yeah.
Some other projects that like I have helped out with. One, it's a nice segue for that. It's called Fanatic.
And what's that about, real quick?
This is a thriller, kind of a dark comedy thriller. There is a trailer for it that we have here. The main person who makes it is an author. Her name is Jade Jones of Jaded Productions. With that one, I just helped out with props, but she's awesome. She's like written like a handful of books, so it's really cool to see her. I think she has 2 different movies that are both on Tubi now. There's Cameron and Fanatic.
Well, we have it up here, so let's play it real quick so the audience can watch this, and I'll make sure I play the right one this time. And
Oh my God.
He killed my son, Frank. He killed my boy.
I too desire power and control.
There you are! Where the hell have you been?
Whoever the hell did this has a fair amount of anatomical knowledge.
You think this guy's a doctor?
Let's get this party started, shall we?
That's crazy. Another body?
What the hell is you doing, bro?
You're making a big mistake protecting your area. Son, Frank. He killed my boy.
I too desire power and control.
There you are! Where the hell have you been?
Whoever the hell did this has a fair amount of anatomical knowledge.
You think this guy's a doctor?
Let's get this party started, shall we?
That's crazy. Another body?
What the hell is you doing, bro?
You're making a big mistake protecting your area.
That's my whole cycle.
That's never figured out.
So you gonna leave him over me?
I didn't want this! I don't understand.
Awesome.
Hell yeah, that was cool.
So cool. So you can tell us a little bit about what you did on the set of it?
Yeah, for that one, I was mostly just helping out with props, so nothing too extreme. But like the director of photography is this guy named John Klein. He's really talented. He's had like a studio in Milwaukee, so I did a couple projects with him there. And then there's this guy Robert. his company, I think it's called Chicago Skyview. He was the gaffer. So a lot of great, really talented people, and they just had like a showing for it at, I think it was in Hyde Park at a theater there.
Cool. Any props that you can talk about?
Yeah, I didn't sign any NDAs or anything for the props, but so there's like some detective characters as you could see in the trailer. So I was like helping provide like fake axes, the handcuffs. They were actually real, like legit handcuffs from like a retired detective in real life. So like I had to actually be like, hey, like don't lose the keys. Like it's gonna ruin the whole day of filming here.
Yeah.
Do you have any? Because props is one of my favorite parts of a film set. Just seeing all the cool stuff on display. Do you have like a favorite prop that you've ever worked on in one of your personal films, or another one you've worked on?
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. I go to thrift shops like every single week, probably on average like at least 3 times a week. So last week I got one of my favorite props that I've ever secured, and that was a rotary phone.
Nice.
So that was really cool. So we just like I don't know if we're gonna use it for like therapists, but it might just be like a behind the scenes shot or something. But yeah, I thought that was a special one. You just don't see as many of those in the wild anymore.
Right. I encourage people to go to like thrift shops every so often. Like you literally don't know what you'll find. You'll find like cool things. I've come across really cool things at thrift shops before.
Right.
Definitely.
Don't spend all your money at Home Goods and all that shit. Like you can just rebuild things. You can repaint them. Go to the thrift shop. Do you have a favorite thrift shop in Chicago? Because this is a good question here.
Yeah. There's the Village Discounts. There's like 13 of them. They're such a franchise, but they're all great. There's one in Milwaukee and Logan Square. There's one at Albany Park. I feel like they're all solid. Like I remember I even got like a really cool green couch from a Salvation Army, that huge one in Lincoln Park. And I was like, man, who's like throwing out this huge like nice couch? I think I got it for like $40.
People in Lincoln Park are throwing.
Yeah, right. They're throwing out the nicest stuff.
Richest neighborhood in Chicago.
Right? It's insane. And I think like years later, I was moving out, and then like the roommate that was replacing me, I guess like his dog, who was a pit bull, she like really liked the couch, which was funny. And the guy was like, hey man, like my dog really likes this couch. Is it cool if I like trade you like a TV for the couch? I was like, yeah, sure. Like I don't have to move it anymore. So it was a win-win for everybody.
Nice.
But what's your cat's name? I forgot.
Oh yeah, my cat. Right? Yeah, his name is Solstice.
Solstice.
Yeah.
How old is he?
He's doing a good job. He's like 14. He turns 14 this October.
Senior cat.
Yeah, he's a senior citizen. He just qualified for Medicare.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I hope it covers his back pain.
Yeah, right. Yeah, good callback.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a dog cat though. He'll like follow people around room to room. So he's very social, and he taught himself how to play fetch like a dog.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
My cat does that. He's an ambidextrous cat, so he's a Hemingway cat with an extra thumb.
Oh, nice.
Only kitty I've ever known who can grip a tennis ball. It's
I was
the
going to say
wildest thing.
Our thumbs is what differentiates us from monkeys.
Right? Yeah.
You need
imagine having an extra one. He's got like literally, you count him. He's got, I think it was 22 like thumbs or like toes in total.
What's your cat's name?
Draco Malfoy.
Draco Malfoy, love it.
It's my girlfriend's cat, but he's my cat.
Okay. Well, you need to bring him out to the guaranteed rate field or whatever, so you could try and pitch for the White Sox.
I think that's what my baby girl Harpo is trying to do. She's trying to be shortstop for the White Sox. She's quicker on that.
Cats are nimble, I believe it.
Yeah. But they're fun. I did want to ask about thrift shops, because I was people were saying, and I know a lot of folks who do this for film sets. Thrifting is the way to go. Have you guys ever gone to the bins? Have you heard of the bins at all?
I know what you're talking about. Like there'll be like a deal of the day.
Yeah, and you go in there and it's like nothing's on like a shelf or anything, and they're just like, just rummage through everything. And
just
you
chaos.
They'll charge you by the pound or whatever, But you get some wild things. I went to one up in Wisconsin, and I was like, man, I wish that I was fully furnishing my home right now, because I would buy all this. I don't know, just something interesting. I just wanted to give a tidbit out to everyone.
Yeah,
those bins are good.
They are. Like those bins are all over the place, because it'll be like, all right, the deal of the day is like anything in the bin is $3, and it'll be like a piece of art, like a lamp, a vacuum, like supposedly like a knockoff MacBook from Wish or something. Like it's really all over the place. So sometimes you really do find some gems.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite thrift store gem that you've ever found?
Like a treasure gem I found, or like from one of the bins.
Either one.
Well, I bought one thing from a bin, and I was like kind of on the fence about it because like, oh, this is cool. But then in hindsight, I was like, oh, maybe this is for like children. But it sounds weird out of context, but don't worry, I'll explain. It was a picture, and it said something along the lines that was supposed to be like cheesy motivational. It said like you know, like you'll grow, or like believe in yourself. And it was like on one side, it's like Yoda looking up at the Incredible Hulk. And it was like they're both green, which is like the theme. But I'm like butchering it because I can't remember like what the actual like mantra was or the tagline, but I thought it was kind of funny.
Grow up, you will.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. Nice.
Jay, do you got any thrift store gems that you've ever found?
I was trying to think of something. I can't remember off the top of my head, so I'm gonna have to come back on that one. How about you, man?
Oh man, I love the thrift store. I'm always hunting at the thrift store more than I should. I think one of the coolest ones I found was at one of the bins up in Wisconsin. It was a vintage Playboy mug. So it was like the mugs that they used at the Playboy Mansion, and like Hugh Hefner might have sipped coffee out of it. I don't know. He may have not. But it's like the original Playboy Bunny logo on it and everything. And I was using it all the time. And then one day it kind of hit me. I was like, I should probably see what this thing is worth right now. I pulled it up. It was like, probably going for like $80 or whatever. And I was just like, I still just like the bragging rights a bit. Keep holding on to it.
Yeah, I feel like something like that, you gotta believe like, yeah, that definitely was Hugh Hefner's mug.
Right.
There's no speculation about it.
Think about all the roofies that were in that.
Yeah,
all
right.
the Quaaludes.
Yeah, I thought that was gonna go maybe another way when you were saying you had that epiphany, like, oh, maybe I should like clean this mug.
I was gonna say, like, was it used for what it was meant to be used for, or was it used for other purposes?
Tastes like the grotto.
Was it does it taste like people?
It's thick.
What's this residue right here? Why is it clear?
Some other like random awesome things I found from thrift shops were basketball jerseys. So I've only been to California one time ever, but I found like an awesome Vince Carter purple Raptors jersey. It was like $20. And then at that same thrift shop, that Salvation Army in Lincoln Park, I found a Ray Allen with the stitches Seattle Supersonics jersey. They're not even a team anymore. So I was like, dude, who throws that out? Like, that's insane. Or donates it.
Wow. People say that when you travel, you can go to other people's thrift stores in different states and you'll find that kind of stuff. Like a lot of people in Chicago might not want a Blackhawks jersey now because they have them. They're stained with nacho cheese or whatever. But folks coming in from out of town, I always tell them, like, go to the thrift stores. You'll find all the sports jerseys that people just kind of get rid of. Otherwise, you can just go to the park and pay, $100 for the jersey plus,
Yeah.
So
that's a good out of town activity that isn't like the Bean or anything. Like a lot of like tourists want to come, like, oh, take me to the Bean. No, I don't want to go to the fucking Bean, dude. It's a fucking no.
Take the L up to Discount Village Family Outlet.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. I know they filled in the rat hole. That was the new attraction.
Dude, why would they do that?
All hail the rat hole.
Sadistic.
We're just trying to have a little fun around here,
Bring back the rat hole.
That's gonna be the new presidential campaign to get our votes.
Yeah.
Bring back the rat hole for Chicago.
Vote for me. I'll bring back the rat hole. I'll even double it.
We'll put 2 rat holes. 2 rat holes in each neighborhood. Vote for me. Jay Smooth. Just kidding. Would you ever run for president?
No.
No, fuck that.
I'm
shit.
good.
Too much work.
You're like professionally getting hated on.
Let's say you were the president of the entire world for one day. What's one law or rule that you would make?
I would say, I don't know, like at least, I mean, it's not realistic, but at least universal healthcare for one day would be nice.
Yeah.
Student loans actually being forgiven would be helpful. And then most importantly, one giant rat hole.
I'm sold. He's got my vote.
I get health care. I don't gotta pay off student loans, and I get to hang out with the rat hole. Man, fuck it.
You had me at rat hole.
Right.
So, Chris, let's ask you about some film stuff here too. I was having this conversation with a friend the other day, and he's a film guy as well, and he was saying that he would only want to see new films in theaters. And we had this huge debate where I was like, I don't want to see the new Avengers movie because it's 4 hours long. I want to watch it at home where I can pause it, go take a piss, and come back. And certain movies I will go see in theaters, though. Like the new Godzilla movie or something that's like very funny, and you want to hear what other people find is funny. I kind of just wanted to hear your take on, the status of theaters post-COVID. That here we are now. Or or watching it at home. What's your preference?
Yeah, I think like if you don't want to watch older movies at, in a theater, you're cutting out a lot of films. Like I'm sure there's so many movies, so there's going to be a bunch you haven't seen before. Like, I don't need to give an example of one-off movie, but but if it's like I get the point of if it's like a really long movie, like any Lord of the Rings movie. I just watched the new Mad Max and it was like 2.5 hours long. So something like that I get, like, you want to pause, go get a snack or whatever. But I don't know. I'm all about seeing movies in theaters. I still get DVDs and stuff. I want to support the artists I like so they can keep making stuff. That's like really my main take on it.
Mm-hmm. You said you still get DVDs?
I still get.
Yeah, right?
What's a DVD?
Yeah, right. I still get DVDs. I got PS3 I'm still playing. Some friends and I were in like a little versus league where we played 2K13 because they have the unstoppable dunk. So I don't know. Maybe we're stuck in 2013. I don't know.
It's like nostalgic.
Like the modern day, the typical housewife being stuck in like the 80s or whatever.
Yeah.
That's for like modern day people. We're stuck in like 2013, 2015-ish. Those were the good old years.
Still listen to Fetty Wap. Those couple songs you had.
Oh yeah. The original Chief Keef, the Don't Like song, always on replay.
Obama was in office. It was a good time. Pretty hip time then. Yeah. It was nice. As far as like movies nowadays, again, I don't like to be in a theater for that long, like 2.5 hours. And you got to hold your bladder and you're watching something that's like a desert setting. None of these people are holding their bladder because they haven't had water in a day and a half,
Yeah.
That part kind of takes me out of it. Like I was watching Beauty and the Beast last time. Not last time I was in theaters. Last time I was on the verge of pissing my pants and I was like, dude, I get it. I know the storyline. I don't feel that guilty getting up and running to the bathroom. But, maybe bring back the intermission, Let's all go to the lobby.
Or you just wear a diaper.
Yeah.
Or a catheter,
Yeah, good old catheter before going. They should have a catheter stations at the movie theater.
Bro, you can't just say that. It's so much easier said than done. I was watching these people who were lining up for Times Square for New Year's Eve, and they're like, I wear pads. And they're like, I have like 3 pads on underneath me.
Jesus.
And they're just whizzing it, and then they just chuck it on the floor. You want to sit in that, and you want to sit in that in a movie theater setting?
I mean,
no thanks, bro.
I pretty much already do. You ever seen those floors?
They're flexing about pads.
They're flexing about pads because they were there all day. And he's like, I've pissed my pants 3 times already.
Yeah, I'm watching every Harry Potter film, and I've only pissed 4 times in my pad.
It can use a little more absorption, then it's out.
Mind over bladder.
But bring back the intermission. When The Hateful Eight was coming back to theaters, and they did it all on 8mm film.
Yeah, it's 70mm.
70mm, but then they did an intermission in between. I was like, that's fabulous to have even like light music playing. They always complain about the concession sales. Make an intermission. Use those in movie theaters now too. They have those abandoned concession stands that are inside the theater, not in the main lobby.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Put someone back in that. Just do an intermission.
Yeah,
it's okay to do an intermission.
Yeah, I guess live theater plays, you'll see intermissions, more Broadway productions. Mm-hmm. But yeah, with movies, you don't see that really.
Right.
But that's a good idea. You should patent that.
If I was president, I'd bring back the ghost town concession stand.
And the rat hole.
And the rat hole. A rat hole in the concession stand.
Boom.
But it's completely sanitary. Oh, man. So the future of movies, what would you like to see going forward with movies and especially independent filmmakers now?
Yeah, original stuff. I think we've all seen a lot of superhero movies, so maybe give it a rest. Maybe we could watch something else.
No Avengers 25.
Yeah. I'm trying to watch more. What are those movies called? The Fast and the Furious. I want to watch 27 more of those in space, racing each other. Like, there's been a lot of those.
More family.
More family. They jumped the shark after like 5. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy how many Sharknadoes there are too.
Right. They just got to come up with some new ideas. But you're right, though. I think that's the beautiful thing about independent filmmaking. That it's something that's drawn me to it so much throughout the years, of hearing the voices of people who aren't big Hollywood producers, people who aren't on this big conglomerate media craze. It's real people who are trying to make you feel real human emotions and tell a real story on a real budget, and having real people do it. It's a really beautiful thing to see. What are some places that you would suggest for folks here in Chicago to maybe check out some independent films? Is it mostly online now? Is there still festivals you would suggest people go to?
Yeah, absolutely. Like Music Box Theater is great. They have the year-round film festival. And I love the mom and pop theaters. So there's Logan Theater has a lot of cool stuff going on. Davis Theater in Lincoln Square. I think they mostly closed down now, but we had a showing actually for one of my projects. It was Moving Impossible actually at the new 400 Theater in Rogers Park. So I like to support local. So just supporting those mom and pop places is cool. I think the director from Parasite said it really well, that like if people could just like get over like reading that 1.5-inch font size or whatever, you've just opened up to a whole new world of movies from Korea, from Malaysia, wherever, and like totally different styles. Like Korea is like really great about like horror films. It's like an interesting style for a lot of the filmmakers there. So I think there is like a whole world out there of movies. We're just not always like exposed to it because we don't want to read, the caption.
Mm-hmm. Parasite was incredible.
It was
such a good film. Have you seen this movie, Parasite?
No, I've heard of it. I've probably seen like clips and stuff.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Cool. They have like 4 or 5 different genres that they blend together. It's just like really unique how they did that. It's worth checking out for sure.
And it's artistic too. Like I really love really cool architecture, and this movie like highlights the architecture of like this really cool house, and they'll have like a close up on like the hand railing, but it's like this intricate thing. You're like, whoa, this is cool. Not to give away the movie, but it's a really, really cool flick. You should definitely check it out.
I'm definitely gonna check it out. It sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, with the setting, they do like really dive deep on like different socioeconomic statuses. So you do see like more, slummy areas, and then you see like nice high-end fancy places. So it is cool how they did that.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of symbolism, and I think they were. I might be wrong in saying this, but in my opinion, looking at it from as an American, I thought a lot of it was portraying like the separation in America of economic status, like you said. I know they depicted like cowboys and Native Americans in it as well, and it's the haves and the have-nots. It's really an interesting film. But even to hear that message though from countries outside of America, I think is important for Americans to see. There's people talk a lot about the idea of the media of America being a little brainwashy, but to hear those opinions and those voices from people in other countries, I think is a really beautiful thing. What are some other films that kind of got you into that? Any foreign films or anything else that kind of expanded your horizon?
For foreign films, I would say I thought like I like the original Old Boy. I thought that was pretty cool, like horror film. There's like a remake of it. Wreck and Wreck 2, like they turned those into the movies Quarantine. So I guess the United States is ripping off a lot of these movies because they're so like well done too. Man, yeah, I'll have to like get back to and think of more. But yeah, I don't know, I've seen a lot of like horror films. I feel like from other places that are pretty cool.
Now, also speaking of horror films, we also have one more trailer here to showcase tonight. It's the Black Cat, the Nevermore Chronicles. Can you tell us a little bit about it before we play the trailer for it?
Yeah, absolutely. This one's like a period piece, so it's all in black and white, which is cool. So the main character is Edgar Allan Poe and his cat. The main filmmaker here is Andrew Pringle. He's the writer, producer, director. And his production company is called Dead Clown Productions.
Dead Clown Productions, that's cool. Well, let's play this real quick. Show the viewers what it's about.
Sorry.
Will you tell me your story? Will you tell me your story? Swift decisions are needed to ensure the futures. I need the house of Usher to fall.
But words have no power to impress the mind without the exquisite horror of their reality.
You're running out of time, Lard.
What truly is his passion? More than obsession.
Nevermore.
That was pretty cool.
So cool. I'm a huge fan of Edgar Allan Poe. Very fun. So tell us a little bit about it. What was your role on this film?
For that one, I was helping more of like pre-production for location scouting. That was the main thing, and then like helping a little bit on the producer side, like referring people. Like I think at one time we were trying to like have a unique location that was kind of hard to find, get access to. So we were trying to like maybe build miniatures instead, which is like kind of a deep cut niche skills. So just trying to help find people to do that kind of stuff. But yeah, mostly location scouting.
And where did you shoot it?
So this is filmed in Chicago area. We're trying to like find like a bunch of like kind of gothic buildings, so let me know if you know of any.
Oh yeah.
Like there was like more in Chicago, before the big old fire back in the day, but yeah, so just like all over really.
Do you have any specific locations you'd like to mention of where you shot?
Nah, there's so many. I think like one of them that's like really cool is we were just trying to film at like an asylum, like outside of it. So I thought that was like a really cool, unique location. You don't see many asylums in general. I mean, unless you do.
I'm sure a lot of filmmakers are like interested in like how you went about finding these locations. Sometimes people just don't know. It's kind of hard to find these spots. You filmed in like some pretty cool spots. How did you go across these places?
Yeah, sometimes like you really do have to like intentionally search. So can be expensive to like drive around all the time with like gas prices. So sometimes like a nice resource is actually Google Images, just to like try and like look that way. But yeah, like I mean, word of mouth is definitely helpful. You do have to like call, email, stuff like that to see like if you could even get access. And then yeah, I mean, it's cliche, but some of it does come down to money too. Like sometimes you have to like pay people or whatever.
That's cool. If you're ever looking for some more gothic stuff, the University of Chicago is such a cool like old gothic building. Like
oh yeah,
looks like Hogwarts, plenty of gargoyles.
That one's definitely on our radar for this project. Yeah, it's amazing.
It's interesting. There are old-timey buildings like that are, in the Gothic realm of architecture. that weren't affected by the fire. You know, the fire of 1871. Was that right?
I think that's right. 1871.
Was it 1871? No, that was the year that Chicago was. No, it was the year of the fire. Mrs. O'Leary's cow. And allegedly, it was it was racist against the Irish. Let's be real. It was. But what I found interesting about it is that a lot of buildings, people say that the water tower is the oldest building in Chicago, and it's like, well, in the downtown matter it is, yeah. But if you go out of anywhere from like, where the O'Leary farm started, or all the way up to like Fullerton. If you go outside of that kind of area, there are those old buildings that are still here in the city, and it's cool to see a lot of folks are trying to protect them now, because a lot of places are just getting ripped down, and they just kind of discard the beauty and the art of it all.
Yeah, definitely. You need those historical preservation societies are important. Like, we do have to like preserve those buildings. They're cool and one of a kind. You're not going to be able to make them again like that. Mm-hmm. I know that at Northwestern also they have some like buildings that are from like the 1850s.
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah, you go far enough north, you go far enough west, they're still out there for sure. Yeah.
That's not Chicago though. I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, technically, just not the city
Where are
proper.
you from? Chicago? What part? Naperville?
Well, sure. That ain't Chicago. But there's a lot of cool Art Deco stuff too. Not necessarily Gothic, but very Art Deco-y. So yeah. I don't know where I'm going with that. So tell us a little bit more about the Black Cat, if you could. Is there any other things that you had fun on set? Any people you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, really talented cast and crew all around. Just a big thing to say for that one is there is a crowdsourcing for it right now. So they have a GoFundMe. So yeah, anything helps, for wardrobe, for locations like we just talked about. And also, just paying people and like even if it's just like providing crafty or food for the actors and everything. So that's good right now. So that's probably the main last thing I'd say about it, is just that, anything helps for any local artist.
Cool. For those of you who know layman's terms and not what crafty is, it's the best place to be on any set. I'll tell you now. A lot of these artists, they show up for IMDb credit and for food, and crafty, also known as craft services, hence crafty, it's a short nickname. That's the place to be. That's where you make most of the fun connections on film sets, just like eating tangerines on a set and just talking to someone. You never know where your next friendship might start. So if you want to support artists, go down in the description below, folks. We will have that GoFundMe link down there. Buy an artist an orange. We need it. It's really needed.
No scurvy.
No scurvy. Just oranges. Just citrus. Well, cool, man. But looks like we're almost getting to that time. Is there anything else that you kind of want to talk about, or any other shout outs that you want to make while here on the show?
I think we talked about a lot of good stuff. There's one more project I did help out on called Lurker. So it's been hitting the festival circuit right now. The director is Vanna Roble, really talented, and it's a project about this girl who's an artist who is like really stressed out, and she's like procrastinating. She kind of manifests like a procrastination monster. So it's kind of like in the same vein of like the Babadook, I guess I would say. But that was a fun one too, and like really, I liked how it was shot. It was just like really low lighting and dark looking. But yeah, that's one more I would say, Lurker, and that's just hitting the festival circuit right now.
Sweet. Very cool. Well, can't wait to watch it. That sounds really cool. Are there any of these films that are that we mentioned earlier today, or any of them available to watch currently? Can anyone tune in on YouTube or Vimeo or anything like that?
Yeah. So Fanatic, that one is on Tubi. Millennial Impossible is on Amazon Prime and YouTube. And then another project I did is called Crime City. That one's a fake Grindhouse movie trailer, also on YouTube. And I think Lurker should be available on YouTube later as well.
Cool.
And how can people follow you?
And they can follow us on we have a Facebook group. I'm not on there anymore, but the group still exists, which is nice. And YouTube is like the main spot for our channel there. Planet Garbage.
Planet Garbage.
Sweet. Well, check it out, folks. Again, down in the description, Planet Garbage. Go ahead and check out Chris Stone and all the fun stuff he does along the way. Check out his cat too on his Instagram. It's a really cute cat you got there.
Solstice.
Mr. Solstice.
Mr. Solstice.
The kitty.
Well, very cool. Well, anything else you want to give a shout out to, or anything else to chat about before we wrap up the show?
I just want to say, thank you guys so much for having me on. I like this place a lot. I love the Chicago film scene, the art scene in general. So I think it's cool how collaborative people are and really genuinely wanting to help each other out. So I just wanted to say that I think it's really cool how, I filmed at this location one time for one of my projects, and it's just like fun, how it's like that where everything just comes full circle.
And now you get to talk about it. That's
now
cool, yeah.
Yeah, now we're going to talk about it.
That's awesome.
Good thing you picked up all the fake blood off the floor, too.
Yeah, right? Don't want to get that in the bill.
Yeah. You obviously didn't read the rules of the room.
The rules of the Z. Inside joke.
Well, cool, Chris. Well, thank you again, man, for joining us. We really greatly appreciate you swinging on by today. We wish you nothing but the best of luck in the future. And it sounds like you don't even need it, man, because you're not knocking on doors. You're pushing through all of them. So kudos to you, my friend.
You're making the houses, baby.
Thanks, guys. Now I was trying to stay busy, and thank you guys. I really appreciate it, and wish you guys all the best of luck with the show and everything else you guys have going on for projects.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it, man.
That's
Hope to do a collaboration sometime. Me and Jay are always looking to be extras and stuff. So if you ever need some folks, let us know.
Yeah, definitely.
He's an actor.
Okay, nice.
He's an actor.
Do you guys have denim jackets?
Bro, I brought it today. I didn't want to be too Bruce Springsteen-y today.
What?
I thought he kind of looked like Waldo a little bit.
Yeah.
No, that's perfect.
I was going for a Bowie.
Well, you passed the audition process. That's really what we need. We need someone with a denim jacket.
Boom. There you got it, folks.
You got one too, right?
Somewhere.
Could be Denim Dan's.
There we go.
Watch Hawk wins, guys. You never know where your next opportunity is going to come.
You never know. Well, thanks again, Chris. We really appreciate it, brother. And Jay, as always, thanks for the great show. And for those of you listening out there, at the end of every show, we always give a special shout out. We try to give a little challenge for folks to do. I got one for you. Concert season is right around us, right?
Good season.
I've been wanting to get my battle vest on for a while, For those of you who don't know battle vests, yep. You get a denim jacket, you cut the sleeves off, you get all the cool patches on there. If you're not into heavy metal, that's cool too.
Do it anyways.
Maybe make yourself like a floral crown or something for the weird EDM fest you're going to go to. I'm going to encourage everyone out there to get music festival ready. Enjoy some great shows this summer. Be safe. Hydrate. Fanny packs are a good move. Just saying. You can put your drugs in there.
You can put a lot of stuff in there.
Plenty of stuff in there. Candy. Who knows? So yeah, get ready for summer and make it a fun summer, and be safe and wear sunscreen, and be safe.
My challenge pertaining to today's episode is I challenge everyone to go watch a movie in a foreign language that you don't know. Just read the subtitles. You have no idea how much you're missing out just because you don't want to read a sentence or two. Come on, guys. Do better. Just kidding.
Did you see the new Godzilla movie?
I have not. I want to.
Godzilla -1. I love it. I loved it. It was in subtitles. I would suggest people sit in the back. It's not in theaters anymore, but yeah, it's endearing. Go check out some with some subtitles. See how the other world wants to tell their stories. So as always, thank you guys for watching Hawk Wins. My name is Jack Dwyer,
and I'm Jay Smooth.
Have a great night.
Peace.
Happy Wednesday. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.